Let me tell you a story about a layover that I had. I had this layover in Philadelphia, and right off the bat, my plane landed 30 minutes late. So we're already off to a pretty bad start. And everyone does that thing where like everyone stands up and tries to like cram into the aisle. Everyone's like so desperate to stand up, so then they like stand up, but they can't get into the aisle, so they're trying to duck underneath the luggage. And it takes about 10 minutes for us to even start moving at all. So they're just stuck there. We eventually start getting moving. People get their bags down, head out of the plane. So I just start booking it. I'm going down the airport. I get to the gate, and I only have 20 minutes left to spare. So I'm feeling pretty good, and I try to find a place to sit. All the seats are filled up, so I find a nice spot on the ground to just sit down and relax for a little bit. And then I get an announcement that my flight has been delayed. Now, the reason my flight is delayed right now is because my plane's here, and it's trying to get into the gates so that it can board people and get out. But there's this. How do I do this with my hand? There's this other plane here, and this plane is in the gate, and this plane's delayed, therefore my plane's delayed. And the reason why this plane is delayed is because the crew that's needed to fly this plane is in Chicago, which is a different state. We're waiting for this crew to board a different plane so that they can fly from Chicago to Philadelphia so they can get off that plane, try to make their connecting flight, get onto this plane so that they can leave so that my plane can finally come in and leave. An hour goes by, 2 hours go by before they finally announce that the crew has arrived in Philadelphia. And the announce person was feeling like a rock star, and they're like, I got good news. Your crew has arrived! And then everyone just goes and cheers uproariously. They like lose their minds, like, ah! And then they start boarding. They take about half an hour to board. That plane pulls out, takes off into the sky. Then my plane is ready to go. My plane pulls up into the gate, and then the announcer comes on. But this time, he's not feeling as rockstar-ish. His mojo's gone. And he says, I'm sorry, there happens to be another delay for this flight. He goes on to explain why there's a delay. And the reason for this second delay is that there are not enough snacks on the plane. They have a snack quota to make sure people are happy mid-flight, because nothing makes anyone more upset than not having snacks on a plane. Except for maybe like a 3 hour delay. Anyway, there's not enough snacks on the plane, so they have to stock up on snacks. But there's not enough snacks on the airport. So then they have to order snacks from wherever they get their snacks. I don't know. People just get so mad. People are shouting, they don't want snacks, I don't want snacks. Everybody's screaming that we don't want snacks, we just want to get on this plane so we can go home. I put my headphones back on, start listening to music, and another hour passes. A whole nother hour while they're trying to find their cookies. And I'm sitting there jamming out, and I hear something, kind of like a grumbling, a stirring, a disturbance in the force, if you will. So I'm listening, and I take off my headphones, and I hear the murmuring. I look over, and on the window to the gate, there is the heavy pattering of dense snow, smacking the window. And I look up, and I'm washed under the deep crimson light of my fate. Flight canceled. At this point, everybody's getting upset, everybody's getting riled up, so they start herding us to reclaim our tickets, reschedule our flights. So we walk over down several ways, and we get over to the booth where we're supposed to reschedule our flights. And lots of people are shouting, people are angry. So I patiently wait my turn. I don't want to cause too much of a commotion. And I eventually get over to talk to the person to reschedule. I get to the person, and thankfully I'm able to reschedule for 9 a.m. the next day. And now I know that flights have safety measures in case something like this happens. So I ask her, like, hey, since this is overnight, can I get a hotel room or something? And she says, no, we met our quota, we have no more hotel rooms. And I'm not going to give up yet. I think money. They gotta have money. They got oodles and noodles and doodles of money. So I ask her, do you have any like compensation or flyer miles or anything like that to compensate for this trouble? And she says, no, I'm all out of that. Now, I'm not going to give up. I have the will of a warrior. I'm going to fight until I get justice for this. I look her dead in the eye and I ask, can I at least get that ultra thin blanket that barely does anything? And she says, no, I can't give that to you. But if you go to a help desk, they'll have some for you. And I say, is this not a help desk? And she says, no, this is the ticket rescheduling help desk. The help desk is over there somewhere. I start heading some other direction, and as I leave, I realize it's starting to get darker. At this point, it's around 11:30 at night, and this is when I first learn that airports shut down. I'm walking through the airport, and it's dark. There's angry people left and right, just in groups and crowds moving about. One of those vehicles that carry all the luggage and stuff just veers around the corner and starts heading towards me. And this angry mob is moving towards the vehicle, and they stop the vehicle and they flag him down. And they're like, how do we get out of here? And then the guy says, you gotta go through C, head down the corridor, and exit through A. And they say, we can't! C's locked! And the guy responds, I know! You gotta go through C, and it's locked. So you gotta go down the corridor, and exit through A! And then the disgruntled mob is just too disgruntled, and they just go, ah! And then storm off. Then the vehicle just like barrels past me, heading in the other direction, and then the mob goes away, and then it quiets down, and then it's silent. There's no more angry mobs. There's only a few people around. And I start walking through the hallways, and as I'm walking, I'm passing lights up above, just as like safety lights, almost like night lights for the airport, so that it doesn't get scared in the darkness. I come up to one help desk, and there's no one in there, completely void of life. I keep moving on. I move over to another help desk. Once again, same thing, empty. You know what? I'm not giving up. I'm gonna get that tiny blanket, no matter the cost. So I keep going on. I get to a third help desk, and there it is. There's finally people there. There's a person at the help desk. They lift it up, and I see it. The ultra paper thin blanket. And they hand the rations over to the person who's grateful, and they just like hold it in their arms and start heading off. I walk up and say, I'm here for a long night. Please, can I get some rations? Can I get this blanket? And they say, no, we are all out. At this point, I'm losing hope. I don't know if I'm going to get a blanket at all. But they say to me to go down and find them at the next help desk. They say there, they'll find me on the other side, and that they'll help me get what I'm looking for. So I nod and silently leave off. While I'm walking, this hallway's even darker than the last one, and I see a mother holding her child as they fall asleep on the ground. And I eventually get to the final help desk, where they told me to meet them. 1 minute goes by, no one shows up. 3 minutes go by, 5 minutes go by, and just as I'm about to give up hope, they emerge like a firefighter emerging from a burning building, carrying nothing in this case, but they emerge from the darkness triumphantly, and they get to the help desk, and they immediately just go under, because they know what I want. They go under the desk, lift it up, and I see it. And it's beautiful. An ultra thin blanket with, this one's paired with a tiny pillow that's lumpy as if it's stuffed with mashed potatoes. And I gratefully accept it, and I take it and hold it close and say, thank you. Thank you. I now have my rations, and I know that I need to find shelter. And shelter in this case is that I need to find a place to plug in my phone. So I start looking around through the darkness of these hallways, and I'm hunting. I got my hunter vision on. And I lock onto one. There's an outlet on a pillar near the ground. So I hurriedly over, pull out my phone charger, plug it in, plug in my phone, and nothing. There's no power. At this point, I realize that all the outlets have been turned off at the same time all the lights have been turned off. Eventually get back close to the corner where the vehicle and the angry mob had their disputes. And I see it. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. A room, like a cavernous room with the lights on. Scrounge around for one of the outlets, plug in, and I hear that sound. It's charging, the outlet is flowing with power, and this is where I shall set up my camp. So I set my things down, and I look around for a second, and I see 5 or 6 people all around me in this room together. Some of them are sleeping, some of them are burning the midnight oil, but I know that we all are sharing the same experience together. We all had our flights canceled, we all had no place to go. We all found this sanctuary together, this safe haven of power and benches that have those railings to prevent you from sleeping comfortably. And I have an idea. I'm going to set up my blanket underneath the chairs. So I set up, make a nice little nest for myself, and I have the chairs over me, almost like a canopy. So I'm like laying Dracula style with the chairs above me to protect me from the snowfall that might break through the ceiling, and it will keep me dry and warm through the night. All of a sudden, I hear a sound. Much like a rooster calling in the morning to wake up the farmers, I hear the sound of someone shouting at an underpaid Dunkin' Donuts employee at 5 in the morning, and I know that the dawn has come. So I look around, I see that some of my tribe has already left. Some of them have gone up and tried to start to reap the day to make it better than the last. And even though I never talk to these people, I will never forget my tribe of one night.